copious amount of press tours for Wicked. Fans have noticed that Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are incredibly close. I mean, they are overly touchy with each other, really highly emotional and constantly crying, and are always holding hands. And many fans have started to speculate that perhaps they're secretly in love or have hooked up, while simultaneously speculating that Glinda and Elphaba are also secretly together and in love, and that Wicked is actually a queer love story. We're gonna discuss this all today, as this video is part 2 in my Wicked series. So if you've missed part 1, be sure to check that out as well, because I do a deep dive into Wicked's fashion choices and all of the like hidden subliminals in their costumes. I really love it. It's one of my favorite videos I've ever done. But today we're going to talk about all of the queer speculation that's going around with Wicked. Firstly, there is a major difference in speculating about a character's sexuality versus a person's sexuality. And currently with all these people online being like, I know that Cynthia and Ariana did it, I know that they're secretly together, they are speculating about the celebrity's sexuality, which really isn't okay. Now look, Cynthia Erivo is a proud queer woman and she identifies as bisexual, and Ariana Grande has mentioned once in a song, Monopoly, that she likes women and men, but Ariana specifically has never gone any further into that, has never talked about it any more than that, so that is where we should leave it, as it's just really not our place to speculate on her sexuality. Although, for the record, I actually don't think that Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are together. Instead, I think that the pair being overly touchy, crying constantly, is a clever PR move to take the attention away from both Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo's messy dating lives, which movie execs were actually originally worried was going to ruin the Wicked movie before it was even released. So let's talk about Ariana Grande first. I'm sure we all know about the Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater drama that surrounded the Wicked movie. However, just in case you forgot or haven't heard, here's a quick refresher. So on July 17th of 2023, Page Six posted that Ariana Grande and her then husband Dalton Gomez were divorcing after being married for 2 years. And then only 3 days later, on July 20th, TMZ published that Ariana Grande was dating her fellow co-star Ethan Slater. Not only were these two articles posted extremely close together and of course were raising suspicion, raising a lot of eyebrows from a lot of people, but in the TMZ article there was one line in particular that really got people talking, as it stated that Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater started dating months ago whilst filming. Meanwhile, we've only found out about the divorce 3 days ago. So naturally, people started to assume that Ariana Grande had cheated on her husband, and then it got even worse. As just 6 days after that TMZ article was released, Ethan Slater filed for divorce from his wife on July 26th, 2023. I mean, the timing on these two was just absolutely awful and really did not help them at all. Ethan Slater had been married for 5 years and he actually had a baby with his ex-wife Lily, and Lily was naturally very upset and took to the press saying that her and her baby were collateral damage and Ariana Grande is not a girl's girl. And that was the nail in the coffin for Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater, as from this point onwards, or at least for the next few months, they were absolutely dragged through the ringer. Ariana Grande was called a cheater and a homewrecker, and people were digging up her dating past to point the finger at her even more, whilst Ethan was mainly made fun of for his looks. I mean, the man did star as SpongeBob, so he really didn't help his case there at all. But despite what like a lot of people may think, not all publicity is actually good publicity. That's quite like an outdated term. And look, if Ariana Grande was playing this like scandalous, sexy role in a movie, this scandal may have helped promote the movie, but she wasn't. She was playing Glinda the Good Witch in Wicked, a wholesome family film. And an alleged cheater and homewrecker being a star of Wicked, it did not look good for the movie and had potential to destroy the movie before it was even released. And apparently the top movie executives were very worried and very unimpressed, not only that Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater were dating, but the way that it was delivered. It was just a PR disaster that they handled so poorly. So Ethan and Ariana were instructed by the top movie execs to disappear for 6 months, which they did. We really didn't see much from them. We only had 2 photos of them, one paparazzi pic and one that was like posted at a cast dinner where they were sitting next to each other. The studio execs were basically hoping like out of sight, out of mind. If we don't see Ariana and Ethan together, we won't remember this big scandal. And honestly, it worked. The story died a lot quicker than I think anyone was expecting, and Ethan Slater's ex-wife Lily even tried to retract her statement about Ariana Grande. And then when Wicked was released, it was incredibly well received and adored by men, myself included. Wicked's my new favorite movie and potentially the best movie I've ever seen. Anyway, since Ariana Grande's role of Glinda was absolutely incredible, the public has been able to look past the scandal and enjoy the movie. However, the centering of Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo's friendship has been extremely helpful in wiping the whole Ethan Slater Ariana Grande scandal under the rug. Because in all the press we see, we never see Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater standing together by themselves. We never hear hear the press ask Ariana any questions about her relationship, no one's really talking about Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater's relationship. Instead, they're talking about Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo's relationship. Which, I mean, as they should, it is their movie. So these like over-the-top emotions, crying all the time about how much Cynthia and Ari love each other, and being overly feely is getting the audience to focus on, wait, is something more going on between Cynthia and Ari, whilst allowing Ethan Slater to slowly fade into the background, which the movie execs would much prefer. I do have to say though, after seeing Wicked, I thought that I'd like see what Ariana saw in Ethan Slater. I still don't. I don't really know what she sees in that man, but each to their own. So Ariana Grande was not the only one with her shady dating history or alleged shady dating history that the movie execs were worried about, because Cynthia Erivo also had her share of bad dating history, allegedly. So I actually had no idea that Cynthia was even dating a woman, but she's dating Lena Waithe. Now Lena Waithe is incredibly successful in her own right. She is a successful actress, writer, producer, most notably having produced Dear White People, and in 2017 was the first black woman to receive an Emmy for outstanding writing for a comedy series, and she even voiced Pixar's first ever LGBTQ+ character. So Lena is incredibly successful, and honestly, Cynthia and Lena sound like an incredible power couple. I mean, I love to see queer women win. However, there are some shady, home-wrecking rumors around this relationship as well, just like they were surrounding Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater. As prior to dating Cynthia Erivo, Lena was actually married. So she got engaged in 2017, married in 2019, and divorced in 2020. However, she met Cynthia Erivo in 2018. Now, the pair claims that they were nothing more than friends until 2022, but a lot of people have been raising their eyebrows and kind of suspicious and being like, wait, did you leave your wife for Cynthia Erivo? And labeling Cynthia Erivo as a homewrecker. Just like with Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater, we'll never know the truth about Cynthia and Lena. Only they know what was actually happened. Maybe they were just friends, maybe Lena did leave her wife, we'll truly never know. Which is why the press tours have been focusing so heavily on Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo's relationship. I didn't even know that Cynthia Erivo had a partner. That's how little they're focusing on their love life. Another PR element of the over-the-top emotions, tears, touchiness from the pair, I think is also part of the movie's PR strategy to sell the relationship. It's a PR move as old as time, where the two main stars of the movie pretend to be in love both on and off camera. I mean, for example, we have Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart, Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens, or even more recently, Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney in Anyone But You. During the press tour, the pair were flirting up a storm, and everyone was speculating like if they were secretly together, if they'd hooked up, and if their love story continued both on and off the screen, but ultimately they were nothing more than co-workers, with Sydney Sweeney explaining we had a movie to sell, and that her fiance was actually the director of the movie, so nothing happened there. The exact same strategy is being used on Wicked, and they have a movie to sell, except instead of selling a love story, they are selling a friendship, a true friendship that is so incredibly strong and powerful. As Wicked is ultimately a story of strong friendship and how important female friendships can be. So Ariana Grande and Cynthia are selling this both on camera and off camera. Don't get me wrong, I do think that the pair are friends in real life. I mean, they've been working on Wicked since 2021, but I just think that these over-the-top emotions, the exaggeratedness of the interviews, I think that element, PR. Ethan Slater himself said in an interview, when asked about Ariana and Cynthia's interviews, he said they're both like, after a full day of junkets, well, we cried 100 times again, everyone must be getting so annoyed. But I think it comes from a really genuine place. And Ethan Slater thinks that they're kind of soulmates. Their friendship is very real and really deep and really informed by the work they did together. I think they're getting to talk about and getting to reflect on it whilst they're in the midst of it. It is also just an incredibly emotional movie. I've seen it twice now, and both times I cried quite a lot. It is a highly emotional movie that they've been working on since 2021, a very long time. So I can understand why the cast is so emotional. Even Ethan Slater has said that he teared up in an interview when he was beside Marissa Bode, who played Ness. The interviewer made a comment to Marissa saying, "Marissa, you're an inspiration. I'm a wheelchair user who has always wanted to be an actor, and seeing you do this, I feel like I can pursue my dreams." And Ethan Slater said that this made him tear up, that the importance of representation on top of her beautiful performance in the movie was really a moving thing. Now, back to all the gay stuff. I don't believe it's right to speculate if real life people are gay, but fictional characters it's okay to speculate about because they're fictional. So, are Glinda and Elphaba gay or secretly in love? Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo think so. First of all, Elphaba's story is incredibly powerful and can be interpreted in many ways. My hair keeps getting stuck in these diamonds, which is what makes the story so fantastic. I mean, women of color, of course, relate to Elphaba's story for being treated differently because of their skin color. Queer women like myself identify with Elphaba's story about being an outcast, being treated different for the way you are. And even Elphaba's story of being treated different but still choosing to stand up to the oppression is very very much a queer experience. Which is why I think a lot of gay people, myself included, really related to Elphaba's story. Which is wild because I went into Wicked thinking I was gonna relate to Glinda the most, but I actually related to Elphaba. So, could Elphie and Glinda be gay? Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo were interviewed by the Gay Times and asked all sorts of queer questions about Oz. Ariana Grande is hilarious, and she said that Oz is a very queer place and that Dr. Dillamonde himself is a gay icon.
Every day in the Emerald City is a pride parade.
Oh my god,
right?
yeah.
I mean, look at like...
That's actually great.
But it's true. I mean, Dr. Dillamonde in that Bodhi cardigan.
Oh.
Let's wake it up. Let's just talk for a minute about him and his little custom tea device as well, his little teacup. I'm just throwing it out there.
It's true.
Gay icon Dr. Dill.
Sure.
Cynthia Erivo then goes on to say that everyone in Oz is a little bit queer. Why not? But specifically Glinda and Elphie, both Ariana and Cynthia think they're a little bit gay.
I think Elphie is, she goes wherever the wind goes. I think she loves Glinda. I think she loves love. I think it is.
I think
I
so.
don't think there's anything wrong with like celebrating the deep connection that both of them have.
Yeah.
Like they do have a real... It's
True
a
love.
relationship. It is true love.
Glinda might be a little in the closet, but if there were a time, maybe, you know, you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Give it a little more time.
Ariana says that she thinks Glinda might be a little bit in the closet, and y'all take it from a femme girly. Glinda's hyperfemininity is usually a sign of being queer. I never realized this, but prior to coming out, my style was extremely girly, hyper-feminine, and that is a sign of being queer. Not saying that everyone who dresses in pink is queer, obviously, but it is, in some cases, a sign. And it's worth noting that in the book Wicked, which was written by a gay man, Gregory Maguire, Elphaba and Glinda actually kiss, and I feel like this is not talked about enough. Or, when it is, people try to tell me that it's a friendship kiss. I don't know about y'all, but I don't kiss my friends on the lips. It's so interesting to me how people are always wanting to deny gayness or queerness even when it's right in front of them. Like it's giving history will say they were roommates. Glinda and Elphie were kissing and people are like, yeah, friendship kiss. No, babes, gay kiss. And Gregory Maguire himself has even said that there was meant to be like an air of romantic tension between Elphie and Glinda. And fun fact, the Wizard of Oz story itself actually stems from the Wizard of Oz book, which is part of a 14-book series written by L. Frank Baum. And then the final book in his series, aptly called Glinda of Oz, we learn that little old Glinda is living in a castle with 100 of the most beautiful women in Oz. The book says, Glinda the good sorceress of Oz sat in the grand court of her palace, surrounded by her maids of honor, 100 of the most beautiful girls of fairyland of Oz. The palace court was built of rare marbles, exquisitely polished. Fountains tinkled musically here and there. The vast colonnade, open to the south, allowed the maidens, as they raised their heads from their embroideries, to gaze upon a vista of rose-hued fields and groves of trees bearing fruit or laden with sweet scented flowers. Sounds a little bit queer to me. And even in the Wicked musical, their song What Is This Feeling, which, oh my god, obsessed, so good. It could be interpreted about the pair struggling to understand their feelings for each other, and could very much be this like enemies to lovers trope. So are Glinda and Elphaba gay? I actually don't think it's too much of a stretch. It's of course not at all talked about in the movie, and I highly doubt it'll be talked about in part 2 because spoiler alert, Elphie and Glinda really don't get that much time together. But I do think that if they had like stayed friends a little bit longer, it could have blossomed into something a little more than friendship. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that like you can't have female friends that are exactly that, friends. Like no, that is of course not what I'm saying. Please don't twist my words there. Female friendships are amazing and important and so good, but I do think in this one specific scenario, they're perhaps a little bit more than friends. So why is it that we always want everything to be gay? Like the number one question I kept seeing on TikTok, are Glinda and Elphie secretly in love, was people being like, no, why do we even need to make this a gay thing? I swear you people always make everything gay. And you wanna know why this is? It's because as queer people for years, we have had to dig and dig and dig to find any sort of queer representation in the media or to find any sort of queer media. I mean, it was banned for years, so we had to dig for it. Queer representation throughout the media has largely relied on nuances and allegories. There's not really a lot of characters that are like, I'm gay 50 odd years ago, but there were a lot of characters that were like, perhaps, you know. And although queer representation has come a long way, it's still got a long way to go. So queer people like myself are constantly searching through the media to find that queerness. Furthermore, I need to mention that if there is queer representation, oftentimes it's normally white women. There's hardly any queer women of color representation throughout the media. So when we have the gorgeous Cynthia Erivo, a queer woman of color, on our screens, we of course want to find some sort of queer narrative there. Overall, I absolutely loved Wicked. It was so much. Best movie, and I absolutely love Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. And to think that perhaps and to think perhaps Elphie and Ari, God. And to think that perhaps Elphie Elphie and Glinda, there we go, are gay. It makes me love it even more. Thank you guys so much for watching my part 2 of the Wicked series. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to subscribe to my channel because I upload new videos every single week. Also, whilst you are there, be sure to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat. I am absolutely everywhere. My name is on the screen right now or also linked down below. I love you guys so much and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye. Mwah!